cannot interface. There is a song by ELO, came out in the early 80s, called Yours Truly. And it's interesting. Jeff Lynne sings about a relationship with an IBM, a robot, a woman. And I love that song. I like the music. I like the words to it. She has an IQ of 1001. She has a jumpsuit on, and she's also a telephone. Maybe one day I'll feel her cold embrace and kiss her interface. Till then, I'll leave her alone. Boy, was that describing today's women. Unbelievable. A lot of coldness out there, folks. A lot of smart women, but no heart. And a lot of dumb people, too, both male and female. So I tend to look at people as I get older as a computer program. And I started to build on this the other day, and unfortunately, I rabbit trailed myself right out of the point. You remember the old computers that had the green screen? DOS systems? That computer cannot interface, cannot run Windows. You cannot. They had floppy disks and stuff. And I was all involved with a woman in Hong Kong, and a line from the Jeff Lynne song, Yours Truly, stood out. She knows nothing of my world. But it's true even if you date somebody here. We men tend to get all into their world, not bothering to ask ourselves, are they even remotely into ours? Dating a woman today is like going to a distant planet. You'll never know what you're in for. Is there enough oxygen that you can breathe? Is there sustenance? But I see it with men. Different people I work with. They don't have mystique. They don't have depth. I admit to you, YouTube society, I'm a people person, but deep down inside, I could get through the day, but I cannot interface with most people. Women and men that I like to talk to are those that have, well, intrigue, a reason to talk to them, a reason to get to know them. This year has been the first time in years that I've made 2 new friends, both males, that I enjoy talking to. I don't see them as an outdated computer program. We have relevant and up-to-date conversation. And I have a couple friends I've made on the internet as well in the past from my former channel that are still solidly in my life. One in Cleveland who taught English 6 years in China. One in Montana who discovered my channel. A husband and wife up in New Hampshire. And I don't call him all the time, but when I do talk, it's always beneficial. Do you have people like that in your life? Do you have people in your life that are beneficial? Not what you can get out of it when you talk to them, male or female, you enjoy the conversation. I honestly don't know how some ladies get through the day. Go to a mall sometime, listen to the conversations women have. It's 99% flake. It's like, wow, is there helium in their brains? But this is important for you to discover for yourself. How well do you interface with people? And this is our problem. Let's cut it out, okay? Oh, you're into video games? Oh, me too, man. You're into tats? Oh, me too, man. Oh, you're a Democrat? Oh, me too, man. You buy a Subaru Forester? Do you have a golden retriever? Are you liberal? Yeah, cool. We can be friends. Huh, that's deep. Not. People gravitate towards sameness. It's like kids in school. The same stuck up snot gets voted as the class president. Same jerk gets voted as class president. We realize at an early age voting is a privilege, but it's still skewed. Kids vote for what they think is cool, and what their definition of cool is not. I hate to say this to today's teenagers. What you think is cool is mostly not. You're mentally retarded right now because you're going through puberty. And what you think is cool right now, trust me, when you get older, when you get up into my age, you're going to look back and go, man, I was retarded. I promise you. I promise you. But they're going through that drug-induced stage of puberty. You know, they're surrounded by peers and, oh, that's cool, man. It's like Beavis and Butthead. And I look back on my life and I look back at what I thought was cool. I had to have one of those koala bears that you squeeze the shoulders and you could clip it onto something. I had to have one of those. Do you know I don't even see those anymore? Man, when I was a kid, they came out with Magic Window, Magic Rocks. I can't remember that wheel that spun on a bar and you could make it go back and forth. Had two magnets on the ends and it spun. Nobody's playing with that stuff. And then a few years ago, they came out with the fidget spinners. And the stores all had to have them. They had them everywhere. Poof, gone. Nobody plays with them anymore. And what's cool today is a passing fad. I remember there was a girl named Kelly Culver. My cousin still brings her up. Flat-chested, long hair, but boring as a wallflower of a woman. I thought she was cute, but she had zero personality. She was friends with my sister, and the only thing that she ever did is somebody would say something, she'd go, huh, and she thought that was so funny. I wonder what Kelly's doing now. I wonder what she's like. I wonder if she's equally as boring today as she is now, if she's even still alive. Huh. Girls come up with something and they think it's funny, and they think it defines them as cute. It's like, the only people that like this are equally retarded kids just like you. Because when you're 20, 30 years down the road, everybody's going to go, remember how stupid you were? And middle school is a trip. I actually enjoyed working with middle school students because of all their energy. I used to hate it. When I first started driving a bus in 1990 and I picked up a load of kids in Duluth at Washington Junior High, and they all piled onto the bus looking at me with those stupid looks. I'm like, you know what? Why did I sign up for this? Driving the bus is fine, but I didn't imagine 70 kids sitting behind me going and doing all that. But as the years went by, I found my niche with middle schoolers. And I learned to engage with them, be professional, and have fun driving the route. Until I moved here to Richmond County, oh my, it's a different story out here. These kids today they're so damaged. I don't know if they'll ever recover. You know, it's amazing. There are ships that have sunk in the harbor, and they raised them, and they cleaned them up and resailed them. But some of these kids, unless they have a come to Jesus moment, they're throwaways. I really believe that. But what about me? I'm 59 years old. I've moved around so many times. I've never had roots. I was adopted, so I was ripped from my mother's arms because, she went out and played games with a guy. I don't even know if he knows. Got pregnant. I was adopted at 4 months of age. And it's funny, the mother who adopted me said, well, we never bonded. Well, yeah, you were puffing on a cigarette, had allergies, and you're blowing smoke over my crib, and you weren't warm. I'm a warm, touchy-feely kind of a guy. And my mother was cold as stone. I turned to stone. When you were gone, you turned to stone. My mother was all of that. And my mother favored her natural born daughter. There's no doubt about it. I grew up watching Blood is Thicker Than Water. I learned that very quick in life. The relatives liked me when I was a kid. Grandma liked me, but when I got older and began to think for myself, I saw even the sweet, seemingly tenderness of grandma. And I'm sorry to say this, it wasn't until I became an adult I thought, wow, Gammy's a royal bee. Woo! I had no idea. Some adult women, they're really good with children until you think for yourself. Then they show their ugliness. Then you got women that have children, have no business having them. The welfare moms that have children after children and they treat them like crap. They use them as a paycheck. Compliments of my working every day and Uncle Sam and everybody else. And then you got women that adopt children like my mother, and people to this day said, why did she ever adopt? I don't know. It's a dang good question. Why did she adopt me? I was abused. Man, I was abused big time. You know what my mom did to me as a kid, folks? Young people, listen to this. Even though it's not made for kids, I know some of you are here. You see, back then, we didn't have child protective services, at least not that I know of. They could spank us, they could hit us, they could throw us across the room, and we had no rights. My mother got angry. She'd slap the face, she'd hit, she went all the way. When I got home from school, from first all the way up till fifth grade, or kindergarten all the way to fifth grade, I had a catch on my door. I get home, she put the latch on my door, throw me in there, and I was trapped in my room. On a Saturday when kids were roaming the neighborhood and playing, there I was in my room looking out the window like a sad puppy. Till I learned how to open my window and climb out and run around the neighborhood. And then I got in trouble for that. And my dad came and drove a stud nail through the windowsill, and you couldn't open it again. That was dumb. Can you imagine if there'd have been a fire and I'd have died in there and they found out my dad nailed the window shut? Probably would have gone to jail for that. And what people don't understand is that kids, when they don't get love, so I learned a couple things. I learned to read. I'm locked in my room and I'd read. My mother would take everything away from me. So I'd check out books from school and I'd bring them home, stick them between my mattresses, and my mom shut the door. I'd pull them out and read them, kids' books. I would take playground sand and put it in my pockets. See, back then they had wooden window frames that slid back and forth. And I started piling the sand in my windowsill. And I'd take my glass of water and pour it in there, and I'd take, fake trees and put them in there. And I had a ecosystem in my windowsill. It's funny how my parents didn't notice it for the longest time, and they came in there. My mother calls Dad by name. Look at this. I got paddled. What is all this? Well, dumb parents, when you lock a kid in their room, what are they going to do? I would bang on the door, Mom, I have to go to the bathroom. And I was treated ill because I had to go to the bathroom. She was irritated because she was bothered and had to open the door. So I started peeing behind the bed. I had a cement slab and I just whizzed behind the bed. Said, well, screw that. Then they found out the bedroom started to stink. They ripped the carpet out. And my mother, if she was to do today what she did 60s and 70s and up into the 80s, she would have been thrown in jail. My dad too. They would have been in deep, deep poo for that. And I remember it was Christmas Eve, I believe. I didn't even do anything. I was in my room. My mother unlocked the door, came in, started yelling, grabbed everything I owned off the dressers. George took the drawers out, took her hand and cleared the shelves through and smashed everything. Opened the drawers, dumped the contents, jumped up and down on stuff. She broke a horseshoe crab that her own father gave me. Big old dried horseshoe crab. She went on a tangent. And I'm standing there in abject horror, crying and bawling. I ran out of the house and stood out in front of the bushes. And I remember Tim Mace across the street, a couple years older than me, is, Mike, what's wrong? What's wrong? I didn't answer. And my mother was like a Democrat. She spun the stories. Oh, my son's acting up again. Man, I didn't even do anything, and you trashed everything in my room. And then she brought the trash can and said, clean it up. I love it when people get on my channel and say WTF. They see me express. They see me wear a woman's top. They see me dancing, and they just get stupid over it. You know, I was restricted. I was chained up. I was abused, and not chained literally, but chained figuratively to a domineering, oppressive, immature woman who had no coping skills. And let's have another cigarette. Let's have another one. And then confined to the back seat of a car on 300-mile road trips with both my parents chugging like chimneys. I'm going to say something. If they ever pass a law that it's child abuse for parents to be smoking in the presence of a child, I will be like, oh yeah, do it. Kids have a right to clean air. I have a right to clean air. I got some lung damage because of all that smoking. I never even tried a cigarette in my life. I don't understand that. They stink. There's a guy that just started at work, white guy, and he goes out to his Explorer, sits in there and smokes like a chimney. He's got a dang, flannel overcoat, and it's reeked. The kind of cigarette smoke that's like 30 years of continuous smoking. And he walks by me, I'm like, and I've been politely telling my supervisor, I said, I think he'd be good in that department. He's very good with computers. Really? I said, yeah. I said, he's not fast enough with me. He's not evenly matched. And the hidden part of that is I don't want to smell that. I don't want to be around somebody where it just reeks of stale cigarettes. It's disgusting. And my mother was abusive, and she's still alive. I have no contact with her. She's never, ever ownership any of that. She never said, and what's funny is I'm not bitter. People think, well, you're a Christian, you need to forgive. I do. But can you apologize? Can you even own up to that? It was said in my yearbook by a girl named Brenda, you're always happy-go-lucky, Mike, and that may sound kind of gay, but, you get put down a lot, and you are just so upbeat. But society and the devil tries to beat it out of you. You hear black people say it all the time, don't let nobody steal your joy. And it's true. Don't let nobody steal your joy. You want to get up and dance? You want to do something? Do it. You're not hurting a soul. Locked in your room. And my mother, she set me up to fail. She'd get mad at me and make me go crouch in the bathtub in the bathroom at 2814 Delmead Street in Torrance, California. That house is worth $1,200,000. That just blows me away. Just blows me away. Same outline of the house, still there. They might have updated it inside, but it is still the same. Except it was gold when I was a kid, and I think it's more of a tannish brown. They redid the stucco. My mother was crazy. And she showed favor to her natural born. She showed favor to my cousin. And when the women would get together, they had a delightful, fun time. And my sister was very narcissistic. It was all about her. It was all about my cousin. And I look back and I'm like, yeah, women were favored even in my family. I remember grandmother, she was nasty talked about her husband, my grandpa. Grandpa had a stroke. But he went to work. He provided her a home. She did not have to work. She ran the home. Let me rephrase that. She didn't have to work for money. Every woman in the family, with the exception of my mother's mother and my aunt on my dad's side, did not crap talk their husbands. Now you got women today that would love to have a man take care of them where they could stay at home. And nobody can afford to do that unless you're making 6-digit figures. Or you got these feminist women that, I don't need a man, but I want a man who will give me everything so I can sit on Facebook and TikTok all day and do nothing. Well, honey, that's not my interest. You're going to be in my life. You're going to carry your weight or else. I'm sailing my ship in the sea of life. I'm not taking on dead weight. You're going to raise the sails with me. You're going to steer sometimes, and you're going to help me. That's what the Bible says. A woman's supposed to be a helpmeet. But my mother, in fairness to my dad, I feel bad for him. He's dead now. He died a year ago. I didn't feel anything. I felt numbness. I still have memories of sitting in a 72 Dodge truck out in the middle of nowhere, Nevada, looking up at stars and seeing meteorites and hearing the gas tank, little gauge in the tank right behind the seat, go glug, 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 glug. Because the truck, move and the little thing would tip back and forth. I didn't have a closeness with my dad. I never had a closeness with my mother. And I tried. When I was in middle school, I tried. I wanted a relationship with my mother. Not, as Freud says, sexually. Freud was a basket case. And that's the basis and impetus for modern psychology. Better have a question mark on that. I'll tell you what, I've worked with people most of the years of my life, from school buses to customer service to call centers to department management to I people watch. My uncle said, "You are a student of people, Michael." And I do analyze stuff. I'm very analytical. I process constantly what I take in. I do live inside my head. When you're alone, you live inside your head a lot. I self-talk. Self-talk is healing. Sometimes I'm verbally like, what in the heck? I did not grow up to be a Jeffrey Dahmer or it puts the lotion on the skin, and people call me that today. Interestingly enough, I would have had every reason to do the crazy, heinous things that Jeffrey Dahmer and the Green River Killer did, but that's not in me. I grew up in an abusive home. My mother practically tried to destroy me, and the scars are still there. But she'd make me crouch in the bathtub, and in Torrance, the washer and dryer were outside the house under a porch. And when the washing machine went through its cycle and it started to drain, it'd back up the tub with all that gray washing machine water. And I'd started yelling because if you get out of that tub, I'm going to spank you. Well, the water's creeping up. I'm yelling, "Mom, Mom, Mom, Mommy, 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 what is going on?" You know the water comes up in the tub. She'd make me crouch under a piece of furniture in the living room. I mean, squat down underneath the furniture. One day she threw me in the linen closet in the den. It was 100 degrees in LA. And even my older sister, who I do not love to this day, "Mom, you can't do that. He's going to suffocate in there." Then she yelled at her. My mother is certifiable. And I get so tired of Christians saying, "You need to learn to forgive." You need to learn to shut up. You need to stop trying to be the Holy Spirit. Because I'm going to tell you something. Old wounds die hard. And if my mother had the wherewithal, she knows how to get a hold of me. She knows how to get a hold of me. Very simple. She called my uncle, get my address, my phone number. She's not made any effort. And while she grandstanded the family about how terrible I was a kid. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't doing anything that wasn't normal for most kids. I was a bit of a vandal as a kid. And some of that came because I was acting out and I was, had some anger. That's why I know how to work on my house. I've torn up a few. I learned how things work by dismantling things. And I'm not happy about what I did. To this day, I feel bad for the dumb things I did. Some of it I never got caught for. And that's what ultimately led me to Christ, is this painful sense of guilt that, wow, how'd you like it if you have a house someday and somebody did what you did? No, I wouldn't. You see, when you become a Christian, you see things the way you need to see things. Unfortunately, even in Christian circles, people don't always grow up. They're childish. They treat the gospel like a used car salesman. They don't care about you. They don't want a relationship with you. They just want to run and back up their gospel dump truck and tell you what to do and how to live. And see, because of the experiences I've been through, I have a problem. I love intimacy. I love being intimate with a woman. And the first time Sherry's arm bumped against me when I was playing Frogger in an arcade, my whole body lit up. The feel of a woman's skin. So I don't understand. Well, here's a weird dichotomy. I can understand why women go lesbian. Another woman's skin is much softer and if she's clean and smells good, and men tend to be hairy, sweaty, and gross. Men and women are not the same. And this idea that women can do what men can do and vice versa, that is a lie. We are not the same. God did not make us the same. God made a man to be a man. He made a woman to be a woman. And what's really a shocker is he wants man and woman to be married, and therein lies the rub. It is extremely difficult to make a relationship work. And that's why I use the word interface. Chemically, chemistry-wise, biologically, I can interface with many pretty women. But that's where the interfacing stops. Try to interface on an intellectual level. Oh, that's tough. Because it all depends on her politics. It all depends on her maturation level. It all depends on all the layers of addictions and vices that she feels she has to have in her life. And I admit, I am critical. I've been criticized. If a child, I remember my grandmother had this thing posted on her fridge in San Gabriel. If a child lives with criticism, he'll learn to criticize. Welcome to Michael Nelson. But it can be used for the glory of God as long as your critique is God-based. And I was put down, not just by my mother, but society. So when you're judged, you do one of two things. You either snap and become a Dahmer, or you get saved like I did and you start to learn to go, wait a minute, let's unpack who's judging me. Let's think about this. Is there any merit to what they're saying? Yeah, I was hyper. I was a high energy kid. Is that a flaw? Is being hyperactive and energetic a flaw? No. But when you're around people that can't handle that, it is. It's a fault. You know, there's that song, you talk too much, you never shut up. And that's my problem. I have the gift of gab. My mom and dad never wanted to listen to me. And what's enlightening and humorous and almost like turnabout is fair play is I get to talk and people come on their own accord to listen to me. Nobody from my family does. Nobody. But people from around the globe do. And God has given me a gift in spite of my broken, scarred, damaged self. I want to show you something. And forgive me. I'm in no way, nobody likes to be judged and criticized. But I don't know if you can see it there. This is a girl shoving food in her face. 7.1K likes. I don't think I'm God's gift to the internet or to women or whatever. My attributes are I'm a hard worker, I'm passionate, I'm sensitive, I'm expressive, I can write poetry, I can talk without a script, and I do. Some of my weaknesses, I'm not as skilled. Sports. I didn't ever do sports because I wasn't good. I ran. But I ran because I was always running inside. And, I want to bring up this one too. She doesn't have a bra. She's got Santa baby or whatever. I listened to her voice. I couldn't listen to her voice on a daily basis in my house. I would ask her to leave. She's attractive. She has absolutely no substance in her brain. And all the men are eating out of her hand because no bra, her shirt climbing up on her navel there. And I'm amazed for all the criticism I get. And people love to use the three letters of the alphabet, WTF, every time they see my shorts. WTF. How come you don't do that to that? She's a slut tease. That woman has no interest in having a relationship with any of you, and you're slobbering all over her, giving her hearts, leaving your dumb comments. Brian puts ew. I have no idea what that's all about. Maybe he's not into women. She's not a bad looker. Body wise, a 10. When I listen to her speak, annoying, irritating, no substance, no content. My channel, we talk about reality. There's people that have been scarred. There's people that have been abused. And you know what? They like my content. What is this? It's one of my favorite animals. That's not a bear. That thing amazes me. That is one of the most incredible animals up in Canada. They say they got them in Michigan. It's their mascot, the Wolverines. If I was going to be an animal, I'd want to be that. And the reason? They can keep a polar bear at bay. Let's turn on the lights. They can keep a polar bear at bay. Not a polar bear, a grizzly. Excuse me. A grizzly bear. And that to me is fascinating. That's nowhere near the size of a grizzly. And in a way, I embodied the Wolverine not because I'm almighty tough, but because I've been able to avoid, with all of the threats and danger, I've been able to circumnavigate that. The Wolverine will not attack that grizzly unless that grizzly tries to get a piece of it. But I watched a documentary where the bear was trying to get, and that Wolverine's circling and it's snarling and gnashing, and that Wolverine had no fear. And I'm sorry, I have fear, but when I'm standing on the truth, I don't. Do you think I care what people think about my clothing with what I've been through? Do you think I give a rat's patootie about you, a man or a kid or a woman? I see what y'all like on the internet. You got more issues than I do. You need to take the time, all of us, to get to know people and why they do this or that. But I'm very critical of minions. I'm very critical of corporate-owned people. I'm tired of women that talk in helium voices about flake and flim-flam, and you listen to them and you're like, wow, there's no substance there. But they'll shop and drop at the mall and they think they're so special and so all that. And you're like, no, you're not. And men in this culture, they still do this. They still go after that. And then they wonder why the relationship goes down in flames and she cleans out his bank account and makes a move out of his own house. Well, yeah, you should have seen that from the get-go, dude. And those same men will get on your WTF, why is he dressed like a woman? WTF, why do you date women with ball caps, cargo pants, and hoodies on that look like a dude, talk like a dude? Because you have gay tendencies, but you're too ashamed to be gay, so you get a woman that's more butch so you can entertain some silly fantasies? Yeah, I think that's what's going on. See, you're not going to hear a channel like this. I don't compete against anybody. I know the Titanic sank, but the Titanic stands on its own. Each ocean liner stands on its own. And I look at my life that way. I am a unique vessel. I don't look like everybody else. It's not my job. But in my own class, I stand head and shoulders above most that are all copying and following the crowd, because I don't. Any of you young people listening, following the crowd and submitting to the peer pressure, you're not an individual when you do that. You're owned. You're enslaved. I was bullied in school. Mammoth Elementary School, the teachers didn't do one damn thing about bullying. Mr. Rennick was a pothead, I remember going onto the playground just before the holidays. I didn't do anything, and there was this kid named Billy Leach, and he was a leech, all right. His dad was the sixth grade teacher. So he had that sandy blonde hair, blue eyes, and all the girls thought he was cute. He wasn't. But that's the problem with kids. They define what they think is cool. I came out and this guy dogpiled me, had me face down in a circle of boys. I'd never done anything to these people. I had just moved to Mammoth and I didn't fit. I had parents that didn't know how to dress me. I went to school not knowing what other kids knew. I was behind the eight ball. I was stupid, dumb. They called me Four Eyes. They called me a geek. They called me squirrel. They called me spaz. They called me everything. Anything they could do to demean me. The stigma stands to this day. And I got Billy Leach one day, and I got him good. But let's go back. Mr. Rennick smoked pot. He was a pothead. He had tenure. People complained about him. They couldn't get rid of him. See, the school system's a safe place for morons. He taught the other fifth grade class. I was in Mr. Glendy's class. Billy had me on the ground, and the kids are saying, beat him up, beat him up. I wasn't even doing anything. I'm like, get off of me. Mr. Rennick standing in the circle watching this whole thing. Doesn't do anything. As a young boy, even I knew, teacher, your job is to stop this. I was face planted, but I grabbed a pebble and I threw it at his boot. Oh, then he broke up the fight, grabbed me, pulled me up by my shirt. I'll teach you to throw a rock. I said I threw a rock. You're not doing anything about this. Dragged me into the school, yelled at me. I hated Mr. Rennick. Douchebag teacher. When I became a school bus driver, because of what I've been through, I don't care how ugly or stupid or unpopular the kid was. I didn't tolerate bullying. I had a handicapped kid ride my bus in Duluth. He always talked about Teenage Ninja Turtles and he talked about dinosaurs. He talked my ear off, even to the point of driving me nuts. But I never made the kid feel bad because I know what I went through. And this kid, Mr. Cool Cat, got on that bus, walked by him and said, "Oh, you talking about turtles again?" I stood up. We were loading at Central High in Duluth. I said, "Excuse me, leave him alone." He turned around and sized me up. I said, "Yeah, leave him alone. He didn't do anything to you, man. You don't get on my bus and bully nobody." He threw himself down and gave me that challenge stare. He didn't get on the bus the next day. He got off, and the kid I was defending said, "Well, thanks, bus driver. Nobody's ever defended me." I said, "That ain't right, and I'm sorry. That's not okay." The reason trolls bully on this internet is because they've been bullied. I'm going to tell you something. The school system in America doesn't stop it. They'll have all the little stupid signs down the hall. "We don't accept bullies here." Oh, really? You teach lies. You teach that man came from monkey or slime or God knows what, and then you teach there's no God. Then you teach kids it's okay to use a litter box and be a furry, and you teach kids it's okay to deny your sex that you were born with, and then if anybody questions that, woo, you're done. You got immature women in the public school system regurgitating the same spoon-fed liberal Karl Marx pablum that they learned in college and putting it on kids. And then you're yelling at all the boys that have energy. Boys weren't made to sit in a classroom and listen to that. Recess was our time. You women don't understand child development. You don't understand that boys are not the same as girls, and you can't put us through the same funnel. My mother never learned that. Instead, my mother condemned me. "You talk too much. You never shut up. You're too flippity, Jimmy. You're too energy. You're too hyper. You're too hyper. My dad would say, calm down. You're too hyper. What does that do to you over time? Go to your room. Go to your room. You try to engage with them and you realize, wow, this is going nowhere. And just like a song by Human Condition, in time, we drift into our private world. Oh man, I used to role play in my bed. Everybody's going, what's he talking about? I'd lay there at night and talk to myself in the dark in my room. And in my world, I had the prettiest women in school. Renee Fredrickson. She would have never dated me in a million years. I had ran away from home. And I ran up to Mount Laurel in the Sierra Nevadas. I never even went up there, but I was fascinated with it. And I ran into a miner, and he couldn't find anything. He said, all right, kid, I'll teach you how to mine. And we went in there and found a big old motherlode vein. And he said, I'll split it with you. His name was Rusty. And I built myself a big wood mansion up there, became rich, raised the Titanic. Oh my gosh. I mean, I had a fanciful story going on before they even located the ship in '86. Before they had that little movie with Jack and Rose, I was into the world of Titanic. I was ahead of my time. Kids were not into that. And people laughed at me for that. I was walking down the hall and this jackass named Kevin Pomelo, his dad owned Morissette Construction in town. He was a butthole. I didn't do anything. These kids, because I wasn't cool, they just made fun of me. Yeah, you're going to go to the prom? You're going to dance with the Titanic? I mean, that's the crap that they did. They'd kick me in the balls for no reason. Doug Cruz was on the football team, an overweight clown. He'd stick his foot out every time I came down the hall. And, it took me quite a few times to realize, hey, pay attention. This time I saw him before he saw me. And I saw his foot come out. I stiffened my leg and pulled a stanky leg. Took the toe of my foot, grabbed his calf, wham! My legs were strong, and that big old O fell down on his ass in front of everybody, and even everybody in the hall. Wow, he got you, Cruz. Nelson got you. He never did it again. So let's go on about Billy Leach. He continued his BS until 6th grade. Little sandy, blonde, blue-eyed kid that all the girls swooned over. Got a bloody nose by Michael. He would come up behind me and go like this. You jerk, surprise you. I said, man, stop doing that. Well, he did it one day. I didn't see him. And this time he did it in such a way that instead of going forward, I went like this. My head clocked his nose so hard he started gushing blood. Man, Nelson, you hit me. I said, I told you to stop doing that. That ended it. F-A-F-O, buddy. I didn't fight. But I thought it was funny that just without even fighting, just twice, I got the biggest clowns that thought they were all that on a stick. I never did anything to Cruz. Never did anything to Leach. Teachers laughed at me in front of class. What the hell's the matter with these teachers back then? I did a video. Maybe we'll talk about it again. I'll tell you, I'll name them by name. The teachers at Mammoth High School that they would be fired today. They'd be in jail for the stuff they did. Tom Beveridge was the math teacher. There was a hot woman named Beverly Scott. She smoked. She was in class. She was sitting there doing her work, and Mr. Beveridge grabbed her, laid her on the math table in front of the whole class. I was in middle school. Rummaged through her purse in front of the class, found her cigarettes, and ground them into her face, laying on her back on the table. This is what I saw in the school. I didn't like Beverly Scott. She was stuck up. But even as a kid, I'm going, that ain't right. That ain't right. What is this guy doing? He never got in trouble. He never lost his job. Now you look at a kid the wrong way, you're fired. We live in a weird age. I grew up with abuse going on all around me and nobody did a darn thing about it. Tom Beveridge, short, squat guy, he used to cut down trees. He had a 4-foot long chainsaw. He bragged about his prowess. He'd tell tall tales in the class, and he'd walk in there whistling, "Everyone knows it's windy." He bragged about sawing or planing down a baseball bat and drilling holes in it. And he would come up behind your plastic Unimold chair, and you were over your work, doing your work, and he'd whack the back of that chair so hard it scared the crap out of you. Man, what was that for? Making sure you're paying attention. Little man syndrome. Bragging and bragging and bragging. I never got under his radar. And I was hyper. I don't know why, but when the Amityville Horror and all this stuff came out, kids started drawing devil wands all over everything. And so I followed suit. I made an entire tree on the table. And Mr. Beveridge never even saw it. I sat there and draw the pitchforks and connected them all together. And by the time class was over, I'd filled the entire table with pitchforks. But what I did was harmless. It was pencil, you know. I used to grab the edge of my desk and lean all the way back in my seat. And the desk back then had the metal chrome post that came, they curved with the tabletop, went down, curved like a sled, curved back up for the seat. I could put my feet against the desk in front of me and gently push all the desks in a row forward. And I used to love it. I'd do it so gently, nobody felt it. They're over there doing their homework. And when they looked up, they're out in the middle of the classroom. The problem is, my dad, who was overweight and he was not what you would call energetic or high energy at all. He was boring. They didn't know how to direct me. But Mammoth, I discovered something. And it wasn't because of my parents. I became the mighty warrior of the snow shovel. No, not the big white aluminum ones. Mammoth had a classic dump. We got 20 to 40 one year. In fact, if you look it up on YouTube, a year or 2 years ago, Mammoth got a total of 50 feet of snow. Go look at the pictures. Don't believe me? Go look. Go look at the chairlift, buried. Look at 2-story houses with a cathedral ceiling with snow all the way up. Check it out. And I read something recently where the women were complaining that the city of Mammoth wouldn't shovel out their propane tanks. And I wrote in there, I said, what has happened to Mammoth? The homeowners shoveled out their propane tanks and made a path for the scale gas to pull up and fill the tank. Since when did it become the city of Mammoth to do this? You move to where it snows, they're not obligated to deal with your tank. That's not city utilities. You buy the service from the company and they come out and put in the tank and fill it up. I shoveled my way out of Mammoth. And I got strong little muscles for a small, rejected kid. I'd spend all day out getting soaking wet in a roaring snowstorm, shoveling. I always thought I was a human snowplow. And when those big orange trucks came down the street, I would just look at them with awe. And back in the 70s, early 80s, the snowplow driver was cool. They got to see me, man. That little thick glasses kid is out there shoveling all that damn snow. And he'd come by, I'm like, oh, I just got the driveway. You're going to put a 5-foot berm in the driveway. Sometimes they'd back up. He'd angle that blade and he'd scoop it out. I'm like, thank you. But the kids at school, they sucked. Why did Mr. Beveridge not lose his job? Physically assaulting, physically holding down a woman, grinding cigarettes in her mouth in front of the whole class. What the heck? If I was to sit down and break down all the stuff I went through, let's go back to the Christmas story. Christmas Eve, my mother trashed my room, yelled and screamed at me to clean it up. And by that evening, the relatives would come over. Hi, Merry Christmas. Hello, Merry Christmas. Oh, my mother was such a fake. And that's why I spotted in women. Women cannot hide their body language. My mother was downright evil, abusive, and cold. And what really makes me mad is when people imply that I'm some sort of a serial killer and all the people I'm hiding in my basement. I had a lot of stuff happen to me. I never thought about picking up a gun and going to school and spraying everybody. Let that sink in, people. I would have had every reason to go postal on society, starting with my mom and dad and then going all the way to school. Hi, Billy. Hi, Doug. I never thought about that because that's not in me. And you think about Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris. They grew up in privileged houses and upper income parents. And the parents never came out and issued a statement after that. And then years later, the mom of Dylan comes out. I'm really sorry. And you know what I learned? You know why there's a Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris? A lot of white suburban families spoil their kids, buy them everything they want, have no interaction with them. Dylan and Eric Harris didn't learn the tools of a dad who said, hey, stand up to the bullies. I'll go down to the school and have a talk with them. But no, the kids had padlocks on their doors and they're storing hand grenades and guns and gas cans in their room. When I was married, I told my wife, if my son ever did that, I'll bust the lock off the door and I'll call the police while he's at school and say, hey, the lock on my son's door, I broke it open and here's what's going on. How do you want to handle this? I think we had to scare the crap out of him. You know, these parents aren't involved. You think I don't know that? These young girls and young boys are on the internet. Dad has no idea. Mom has no idea what they're doing. What kind of parenting is that? Spoiling is wrong, but not being involved with your kids. And the kids now are trying to interact with us because they don't have it. Sting wrote a song. The group, The Police. The teacher, the classroom, our schoolgirl fantasy. Nobody called him a pedophile, but he sung a song about a girl coming on to him, and he's saying, don't stand so close to me because he's being tempted. Look at what I went through. And you wonder why I'm so sensual. I didn't learn love. And I can tell you something, in my 59 years, you know what I've noticed? Boys and girls who grow up with affectionate touch, warm, loving families are less likely to go out and play around sexually. And then you get people like me going to church and you got to hear a steady diet of porn, masturbation, and lust and how it's wrong. Get off of it, man. I'm not out there racking up chicks. There was a time when I did. I haven't dated in almost 8 years now. And one, because I haven't had opportunity. Two, because my brain is finally expanding when it should have been doing that in grade school. I was dumb. I was retarded. In fact, I could have been diagnosed special needs. Because when you don't get what you're supposed to get, you're going to go through life somewhat retarded. And I never use the word retarded to talk about handicapped people. I drove handicapped buses, what people call rudely the short bus. Look, we're all on the short bus, man. Every one of us has got a deficit. Every one of us has sinned and disappointed God. And this idea of making fun of people that through no fault of their own are born with a deficit or have autism, you're a special kind of stupid. Those people are the nicest people I've ever driven on a school bus over the so-called normal middle schoolers and high schoolers that think they're cool when they're acting retarded. I will never make fun of somebody's special needs. Some of them have skills and manners more than anything I've seen with so-called walking upright, erect people. When a woman comes up and says, you'd look so much better without your glasses. You're stupid. Have you considered contacts? Go up and tell the guy in the wheelchair he looked better without a wheelchair. Go tell that old man he looked better without a cane and a walker. I dare you. You think I like these? Man, I hate them. If God could give me my eyesight back, I couldn't get it in the Navy because of these. I've had the stigma be called Four Eyes Coke Bottles Telescope. Everything. Because I wear glasses, I was called a geek and a nerd. Kids are still bullied today, and the schools don't do squat about it. Parents don't care. In the black community, it's even rougher. If you're a black kid with other black kids and you're not part of the popular crowd, they'll tear you up. That ain't right. Had a black kid come on here several times. He said, I like your channel. He said, I have no friends at school. And he's trying to play an instrument. And me and my chatters encouraged him. I care about the underdog. I hate it. Bullying is wrong. It's evil and it leaves scars. And you think it's funny. You being funny at somebody else's expense could leave a scar that affects them for life. You better be careful, bullies. You could be making the next serial killer. You could be making the next Columbine shooter. Stop it. You don't like somebody? Shut your damn mouth and shut it. You don't like my channel? Get the hell off. You don't like what I wear? Man, I've been through enough. I don't care what you think. I'm comfortable in my skin. Are you? You got to build yourself up. You got to inflate your flat tire by putting people down. That's all it is. There's people that need to hear this message. We're all human. I may not like somebody. I may not like the way they are, but you still have value. I'm human. I'm limited by my own confines. There's some people I don't want to be around. They stink. They smell. They got body odor, whatever. But I'm not going to go up and say stuff. I keep my mouth shut. I talk about it on here. I think of that song. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, because all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. Let's line me up with Renee Fredrickson, Doug Cruz, and Billy Leach today. I bet you, in the looks department, I won at 59. I'll bet you Billy Leach ain't cute no more. I'll bet you Doug Cruz is, if he's even alive. Renee, who everybody lusted after, had the perfect tots. Kids, when you're going through school, remember all those popular kids. Popularity is determined by crowd mentality. You may end up being the most successful, smartest kid in that class, and you get to have the last laugh. Don't ever rate yourself by what other people think of you. The only time you should listen to other people is when they're telling you something you're doing that is truly harmful. But if they're putting you down just because you're not like them, ignore them. People get on here, you're a Christian and you do this. Oh, Christians bully too. Let's quote scripture at them 100 times. You can't dress as a woman. You can't dress as a woman. Look at that. Look at that. You know what, dude? I can, I did, and I will. I'm fully man. I have a feminine side. I have a sensitive side. I love watching ballet. I love watching figure skaters. I also like to watch some hockey where they're going stupid with the puck. I love trucks, and I cannot lie. I hate Priuses. They make me cry. But I am not ashamed to be who I am. I'm not ashamed to put myself out here because I have nothing to lose. I've lost everything all my life. I lost promotions. I didn't get this. People talk about racism and favoritism. I've been a victim of all of that too. I was too afraid to fight. I had low self-esteem all my life. I was told I was ugly, fugly. Kids made fun of me, and it was all coming from the boys. Why are boys judging my looks, even back then? And they're all walking around saying, that's gay, that's gay, that's gay. You're gay. Why are you judging a man's looks? And they get on here and do it. I don't get on no boy or man's channel and say, you ugly. The comments people leave tells me more about them than they realize. And guess what? I'm not Bill Gates. I'm not anybody. But I've gotten smarter. I've got my finger on the pulse. I learned to read people. I know psychology better than most psychologists because I've been in it. I did a video recently about body language. Most people don't know how to read that. I can look at a woman and I can analyze her that quick just on body language. I've talked about women do this. I call it the nanosecond scan. Whenever you as a man walk into the perimeter of a woman, she's going to do the look. She's going to look. And in that split second, she's made a judgment about you. They don't know you. They don't take the time to get to know you. I don't do that. What I watch is body language. What I watch is the way you are when you're at the front desk of a business. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care if you didn't wear your bra that morning and you're sitting at the front desk. When you're rude to people for no reason, I've learned everything about you in a doctor's office the first minute I came in that door. You're no good. You're no good. You're no good. Baby, you're no good. You think you're all that because you got looks? Look at all the women getting on there thinking they're all that because of their looks. They get all the views. They get all the likes. 7, 10,000, 20,000, 300,000 looks. Why? Well, because they got all this going on. Well, they got bigger boobs than me, hopefully. You know, they're all, hi, guys. Guys are so stupid for that. It's cold, so I need to put this back on. People are shallow. People are stupid. And I've learned when you bully somebody, you've told me everything I need to know about you just by that. You're no good. You got corporate bullies. You got road bullies. You know, the ones that tailgate you when you're in the right lane going the speed limit and they drive with 3 feet the width of their vehicle over the white line or yellow line glaring at you to get out of their way. Sometimes I'll just come to a stop. I'll move slightly to the right, no turn, so stop abruptly, put my hand out, go! And they'll pull up real slow and look at me like I'm a one-eyed monster. You're tailgating me? Go, hurry up! I hate that. No, I'm telling you, do not plunge the brakes when you got a tailgater. They got cameras now. And if they can show that their insurance company, you're in trouble. Don't brake check anybody. And I don't do that. I'll pull to the right and brake quickly, but not to cause an accident. I'm still bullied to this day. It never goes away. I had kids on a school bus ask me years ago, bus driver, what's the difference between an adult and kids? I said, the playground's bigger. I said, the same things you guys are going through now goes on in adult life. You still have the bullies. You still have the popular ones. You still have what everybody calls the losers. And the same stuff goes on. It's just a bigger playground. Now you're out here. You have to make a living. You've seen it at work. You got the popular girls and guys that get away with everything in the job place. Then you got the losers that don't do anything that still have a job. Then you got those that work their butts off and they're never recognized or shouted out. Because you're not popular, you're not cool. Nothing changes. And this is why I have the boldness to get on the internet and speak and put myself out there and be vulnerable, because I've been so bullied. And most bullies tend to withdraw and go into themselves. Bullies, don't do that. Not bullies, excuse me. You bullied ones, don't do that. Learn from it. Become courageous. Be bold. Be uniquely you. You may not have been gifted with good looks. So what? Good looks is not going to be with us forever. Goldie Hawn is in her 80s now. She still looks decent. But guess what? We all going to age. Guys are very shallow. They rate things on beauty. And women know that. And women act like spoiled brats. Rest me biatch face. That's why women today in America, the bulk majority of them are so nasty. Because men put them on a pedestal, fluffed them up, and they get away with it. They can go to work and be nasty. They can have an attitude because they got looks. That's what happened. That's what's happened in society. And when I see a channel with an arrogant slut tease, I don't give her a heart. I don't give her a like. I'm not playing into that. I don't care if she's hot. I'm not going to feed into her ego. Not even going to have a conversation with that. And social media. Bullying is alive and well. There are other kids that have committed suicide because of the social media bullying. And you bullies are proud of that. You will stand before God one day and you will give an account for everything you've done, including what you've said and done on social media. Are you aware of that? Or are you too dumb that escapes your notice? You bullying people, you making fun of people, and terrorizing somebody, you're going to be judged for that. Whether you believe in God or not, you can take that to the bank. There is God, and he will hold you accountable, and he's recording everything you do in those books up there. Just keep it up. You're just heaping more damnation to yourself. I was bullied and made fun of all my life and was taught to believe I wasn't attractive. I'm sorry, I look in the mirror and I'm still deeply affected by that stigma because you still got people getting on here. What the F is this? This is ugly. They don't have a picture. They don't have a channel. Or when you check, they got violent video game after violent video game. And for some dumb reason, they uploaded themselves playing their violent video game. That's not content. And I've said it for years. People that have a love for violence, that ought to send alarm bells off in every one of our heads. Most of the school shootings in America have been carried out by upper middle class children, which tells me the parents bought them everything and spoiled them and really weren't involved with them. There is no substitute for intimately being involved in your children's life. Buying them stuff, buying them phones, not good. Okay? If you don't have a relationship with your kids and you're just buying stuff to babysit them, don't be surprised when they make the national news. A teen girl was talking to AI and committed suicide, I heard recently. That's crazy. That's not even right. When you got a grown man leaving his fiance to have a relationship with AI, and people call me mental. Dirt, dirt, dirt. Really? I know what mental illness is to some degree, and I don't have it. I got some problems. I got some deficits, and I sin, but I'm not mentally ill. I'm at the top of my game. And that's why this channel's growing, because people hear things, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm not stupid. I don't know everything. And I've been wrong about some things, but you know what? I don't fabricate stuff on here. I don't put out lies and false bravado. And this has taught me something. When I lived in Hong Kong, I said, Americans don't like real, transparent people. Don't believe me? Listen to the commercials that are directed by nasally voice women. They're flaky. They're cheesy. Our commercials are consumerist. Everything's fake. Everything's skin deep. And that's why most of the women in our culture, how's Mr. Right today? And walking away before you even answer them. You know, women are very superficial in this country. Plastic gives birth to plastic. And I can't stand plastic women. I can't stand plastic men. How's Mike doing today? You know, talking to me in that corporate voice. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing well. Yeah, you make $150 million a year. I'm sure you are. Welcome to my not so wonderful world. I don't like a lot of people because they're awful, but I have no tolerance for bullies. Now, when I get trolls, I'll dish it right back to them. But I have no tolerance for people bullying people. When a young lady posts a video of herself jumping into a hayloft and some kids get on there and make stupid, disparaging remarks, I'm like, what is people's problem? Stupid. See, if you believe in evolution, that's what you're going to get. Trolls, brutalism, Jeffrey Dahmers. But what about those Christians out there? We're supposed to be different, right? And you get Christians beating me up for my tops that I wear again and again and again and again and again and again and again. But you sit here and you listen and you stay and you quote scripture and you tell me I'm wrong. What kind of a life are you living when you're doing that? Are you set free? Are you really happy? Are you really at peace with yourself? Why are you doing this? You're not God, so quit trying. Go watch something you want to watch. And the psychology that people get the degree for is wrong. But I've watched people, and watching the trolls, the psychology of what they're doing is becoming apparent. Christians can't leave my channel. They want to dog me with this dress issue, but apparently I must be saying or doing something where they don't want to leave. Interesting. If I don't like somebody and I don't like what they're doing or saying, I'm not going to stay there. I'm out. I got better things to do with my time. There's a video. I can't remember the singer's name, but he says, she's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. Grown man interested in a woman that's interested in him. That happens a lot. And it's sad. There's this big stigma about age. And here's the problem in American society today. We don't treat boys to be men, and we don't treat young ladies to be ladies. They've got all the equipment, they've had a period, and we give them a phone and we teach them to be immature, teach them to become furries, all that. And if a grown man thinks they're attractive, oh, he's a perp, he's a pervert, he's a pedophile. Really? Does anybody know how old Mary was when she was used to house the birth of our Lord and Savior? Does anybody know? And I'll bet you her husband was not underage. I don't believe the carpenter was 14, but she probably was. The reason the young women can't get married in America today is the maturity level is, and they're come back here to Georgia and the South. You get married at 13, 14 years old 100 years ago. You know why? Girls were developing and they were becoming women. It's interesting that we put a woman's, she's gone through puberty and all that well before 18. You can't do this, you can't do that. And we've dumbed them down, and we've dumbed boys down. They're addicted to video games. They're not helping on the farm because there are no farms because the government's bought all the farms. We were an agrarian-based society. And then they hear about a teacher or a man fall in love with a younger woman. Well, let me ask you this. You got women out here today that are my age that look like an Amtrak that went off a bridge. Why would I want to date that? Look at me. I'm 59. I don't look like I went off a bridge yet. And those women that were in high school that ignored us and made fun of us, now you're looking at them going, oh gosh, no. Now they want me. They washed up beach whale. Now they want me. Honey, are you serious? You rejected me back then and now you want me? You don't have anything to offer me. I'm still viral. I'm still decent. What are the schools doing to these kids? Wrecking them, destroying them, telling them there is no God, telling them all kinds of things, promoting liberalism and Karl Marx and socialism and communism and activism and humanism. Anything with the ISM at the end, it needs to be avoided. Communism, socialism, humanism, atheism. Yeah. Narcissism. Anything with an ISM is not a positive, man. Lose it. I was thinking about that one day. Anything with an ISM, 99% dangerous. And yet our schools encourage all of the above. And what's interesting is they'll make a big deal about a school shooter, but they won't do anything about the bullying on the internet. They won't do anything about the bullying that goes on in school. They didn't do anything at Mammoth High School with Tom Beveridge grinding cigarettes in Beverly Scott's face. I remember that clear as a bell. That's frozen in me. I can remember it. She's screaming. The whole class is sitting there. Do you think anybody ran out and ran to the office? Nobody did anything about crap back then. Woo, that'd be a lawsuit today against the school. Most of the teachers in today's public education arena have the mentality of a middle school girl, immature, and they're teaching our kids. And they don't know a thing about boys or boys' growth. We want to go out on the playground. Recess and lunchtime were our favorite subjects. We do not want to fold our legs and sit in class and hear about whatever. And you cannot squeeze everybody through the same funnel. Schools started getting some more tech skills-based stuff. I believe in that. You can make more money in HVAC today than you can going to college just to get a business degree. You could get a plumber and come out making $38 an hour after apprenticeship, and then you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt to go to college to watch people get drunk and have flop houses and frat houses and a bunch of retards in a U. Really? Because guess what? At the end of the day, all these fluff jobs where people got a college degree and they're not any smarter than me. They don't know half the knowledge I know. But they went to college and got a toilet paper degree. And they think they're all that. These women go to college and I want an educated man. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. You want somebody who's brainwashed like yourself. You want somebody who's a Democrat like yourself, but you don't want an educated man. You don't even want a man. You don't want a man who will look you in the eye and tell you you're full of beans and you need to stop. No, you want a man who's a simp. You want a soy boy who pushes the stroller and, uses a certain tone. And I see the church. I see these guys promoting this yucky elevation praise with the sides of their hair cut short, and they look gay as gay can be. I'm like, if that's what Christianity is, I have been judged by everybody from every walk of life because I vote Republican, but I don't agree with all the Republicans. I'm a Christian, but I don't hang out with all the Christians. Some Christians are morons. Yeah, they're my brothers and sisters, but they're the siblings I don't want nothing to do with. Wow. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm open-minded on some things. I am an individual. Most people out there are not. They follow the tide wherever it goes. In, out, in, out. I see it with the SUV junkies, the Starbucks crowd, the I love my dog to death crowd. Boring. All copycats. And those people are bullies too. They bully me. What the F? What's wrong with this guy? You got mental issues. Get the people out of your basement. You're so stupid. You're going to do what's safe. You're going to go to college. You're going to get that job. You're going to say, I'm doing well. Can't stand your marriage. Can't stand your kids. But you bought an SUV, go to Starbucks, and you worship your dog. Isn't that fun? You having fun with your boring life, deeply in debt. Isn't that awesome? A slave to the corporate system. Yeah, go ahead and make fun of me, Spacky. You're the loser, not me. If Starbucks were to collapse, if SUVs were to send to the crusher, it wouldn't bother me at all. Wouldn't have no impact on Michael Nelson. If all the malls shut down, it'd have no impact on Michael Nelson. If the sports world went crashing down, no loss. I can live with all that, without all that, and I already do. I want to thank the viewers for watching today. I hope you get something out of this. And those of you that are bullied, keep your chin up. And if I could be allowed to challenge you, pray to God. Ask God to help you. Because that's where your greatest strength is going to come from. If there's something you can do to change things about you and you want to, then do it. But don't. And it's a shame that you can't go to your parents. I was blessed. When I got to high school in Prescott, I had 2 years left of high school. We moved to Prescott. There was a Mexican guy named Alex Madrid. He had to be 6 feet. He was solid muscle. He's on the football team. Alex was, I believe he was on the football team. You know, I was in track cross country, and I've told this story before. Some hayseed from Alray, Colorado. I heard that's a real dysfunctional community, fighting town, and he was 6 foot tall, skinny as a toothpick, and I'd go to my locker, which was the bottom bank of lockers, and when I'm turning the combo, I always try to be conscious. He'd put his knee in my back. I said, man, get your knee out of my back. F you, man. I came to class one day and Alex said, Mike, what's wrong? And I said, man, I'm getting tired. And I told him what happened. He says, after class, go to your locker. I want to see this fool. Sure enough, I went. The guy put his knee in my back. And that quick, I heard bam and felt the knee pressing in my back. And he head planted his head into the locker. What the F is your problem, man? This guy lettered at this school. He represents the school. Why are you putting your knee in your back? I wasn't. Yes, you were. You do it again, I'm going to bust your face. I'm standing there going, wow, I have a bodyguard and I didn't even know it. That guy did not come near me until I was done getting my stuff. I said, look, I didn't need you to fight my battles, but thank you. He goes, no. He said, people like you in this school. You're a good guy. I don't put up with that crap. You don't bully. You don't bother nobody. I said, thank you, Alex. Sometimes God can send you help in a way you never expect. Bullies, or the bullied, cry out to God. He cares about your suffering. Society doesn't. The bullies don't. I've had a bully on here for 10 years. I'd love to see somebody take a giant fist and knock him out. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to see him get flattened. Because he dug deep. 10 years of trolling. He doxed me. I mean, I'm going to death threats. Why? Just for Michael being Michael. Grown man, still trolling. 10 years later. People want to call me mental? What the hell do you call that? That's not a well-adjusted person. That's a psychologist's dream right there. A fixation with one person for 10 years. Those are the kind of people that hide people in a basement, folks. Those are the kind of people that shoot a Charlie Kirk. Let's camp on that for a minute. You may not agree with Charlie Kirk, but if you think it's okay to shoot somebody because you disagree with them, something's wrong up here. I don't agree with Ilhan Omar, but when I see a friend of mine do a video where a fist is punching her in the face, I'm like, no. I don't like her. I want her out of politics. She has no business as a Muslim woman being in politics, but bullying and encouraging that kind of stuff, not okay, folks. That's not okay. It's violence. And what do you think the liberals and the left are going to say when they see people on our side promoting that kind of stuff? It gives them fuel for their fire. Nobody should be assaulted for their views or shot or killed. We need to learn to debate. We need to learn to be on top of our game so we can shut them down with wisdom, not violence. That's barbaric. It's Neanderthal. Some of the greatest discourses have been debates by two men that held opposite views, and to watch them spar in the mental arena is awesome stuff. Learn the art. Learn how to joust, not kill. And for all you bullies out there, you're skid marks in a toilet bowl. You need professional help. You need to go to a pastor. You need to go to the Bible. You need to repent. You need to get saved. You need to get right. Bullying is not ever, ever a good thing. You're a lowlife. You're a loser. I can talk about other channels. I don't believe in bullying them. I talked about this woman on here, stuffing her face with food, 7.1K likes. And I do a video of me just dancing and expressing, 9 likes. And somebody will get on there, look, most people don't even like this. Oh, but you had to leave that comment, right? And it's amazing how the mind works. People are scared when you're free. Even when I do what is not conventional, most guys, they got this macho complex, can of beer, my shotgun, my lifted up truck, or my Rice Rocket Bumblebee exhaust system. Does that define you? You're shallow. Anybody can rev an accelerator and make noise. That's not a skill set. And most of us are tired of it. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody's looking at you going, oh, you're worthy. Get over your dang self. The world is not your friend. We run from God, and God is the only one who can give us the love we need. But we run after a woman, we run after a man, women run after men, people looking for love in all the wrong places. But they'll reject and laugh at God. The reason I'm bold and the reason I put myself out here is because I'm a child of God. And I'm not perfect. I sin, I struggle, I make mistakes, and I'll still let you down. But guess what? God's not done, and God's not a bully. I don't care what these stuck up, narcissistic, attractive women think of me. Why should I? They got privilege I don't have. They're not going to stand in front of heaven, and God's not going to sit there and go, wow, you look hot. He's not going to do that. He's not going to judge you on those looks. He's going to judge you for this. And most American women have no concept of this. This is just an emoticon. That's it. That's all it is to most women in our culture today. It's not this right here. And you spend all this time with all your lip gloss and all your stuff and in the mirror and your TikTok thinking you're a diva. You have no passion. You have no soul. You have no personality. But you got all the likes from all the men and women now that are slobbering over your sorry body. I don't want to make love with a narcissist. Who would? Simps. 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and that's all the men's fault? I don't think so. I don't believe that at all. You're sitting there implying that women are perfect and men are not? Honey, look at social media if you think women are perfect. It is dysfunctional as it gets. 7,100 people like that. Why? And I put on there, why? 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 Why is it that we're so moved by this? Look at her face. Her face tells the whole story. I'm a little narcissist, short and stout. I can walk on YouTube with my bra taken out. Everybody likes me and gives me hearts too. But if you get married to me, I'll make your life so blue. You think that's going to be a good woman for you, guys? You're so temporal. All that is the penis Olympics. That's it. Nothing more. And that's what the internet is full of. Full of. I don't know her. I'm just saying she has no content. It's slut teasing. That's it. Slut teasing. 100%. So you come and laugh at my channel. You can judge and criticize me. That's fine. The content, the people that come to my channel is growing because they want to hear cognitive stuff, not mental trash, not slut teasing. The only thing about that video that I would watch is if I was horny and I wanted to rub one out. That's it. And I haven't done it because she's got a degree of narcissism that's so off-putting. That's a cock block. And I'm going to say it. Women, you're only playing a one-string guitar on social media. Your looks, your looks, your looks. You have no content. You have no passion. You have nothing. That's it. And of course, women like that are going to make fun of me because they have no content, they have no substance, and they have no passion. So people like me will be ridiculed and made fun of because I'm a little too cerebral for you. I'm more real. I'm more genuine. I have something to offer that you know nothing about. And if you want a relationship with a slut tease, you're going to end up sucking the bitter fruit of that. And you could do it for the rest of your life. After she cleans you out, takes your money. Man, guys, don't be so dumb. Stop thinking with the wrong head. You know, the one between your legs? That's like a DUI, boys. It's a DUI, driving under the influence. Making decisions under the influence of lust. Thinking that that's love. Even the song, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? That's all it is for people today. And it's based on lust. It's based on, I got an orgasm, I love you. It's amazing how easy it is for us to say I love you when we're in heat. Wait till she wakes up with her hair standing up and you smell that breath that first morning after the honeymoon. Honey, dragon breath, go and brush your teeth. I just keep it real. That's what's fun about this. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, and I'm not either. And I'm not trying to broadcast that, but we need to look around and look at society and look around, be a part, take time to make time to be there. 'Cause I love you, babe. You're not like the rest. You're there when I need you. You're there when I'm gonna need you. Do we have relationships like that? I need you, not a clingy. I need you because you are my other half. Because you give me something that I need, and I give you something you need, and it ain't a paycheck, and it ain't money, but it's love. Our relationships aren't based on that no more. Sometimes they're a fair trade act. Sometimes they're mutually benefiting. You give me sex, I give you money. You want honey, you get the money. Okay. We've cheapened everything. The internet. You have F-book now. You can just meet up with a woman. You can mutually masturbate on cam and never have any involvement. TV dinner, that's the name. Eat it, throw it in the trash. I mean, that's it. We've cheapened everything. All the internet has done is made prostitution legal. And we wonder why nobody's nice in society anymore. They drive like idiots, they act like idiots, and the businesses, it's crazy. We have just devalued human life. We exploit. I've been guilty in my own mind. Women are so horrible. They're so tough to be involved with today. Not all. For all of my women friends and fans come on here and say, Mike, we're not all like this. I'm not talking about you. So relax, chillax, and get off of it. I grew up with an abusive, domineering mother, and I see that in so many women today. I saw it in the public education arena, women being rude to me in class, women mocking me, teachers, people that I'm supposed to look up to. I don't have a high opinion of a lot of school teachers. They're a joke. Immature girls getting an education and bringing their immaturity in a classroom. When you got a grown woman doing a 14-year-old teen boy, something ain't right. Because boys really are immature at that age. There are some few exceptions. But you're 30 years old and you're doing it with a 14-year-old boy? But you wouldn't date me because I'm not worthy enough. Okay. We don't need no education. Dun, 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 dun. We don't need no thoughts control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Man, that song was prophetic. Pink Floyd should have been a prophet. The public education system needs to get out of it. It's become the largest taxpayer-funded daycare that's telling kids to look into their pants and question their sexuality. Use a litter box. You want to be a dog? You give me a dog. Woof, woof. Oh, my gosh. And these kids are rude. These young girls are rude. They take pride in cussing and being filthy, vile, and vain and profane. And they glare at you in the streets, and they glare at you everywhere. They glare at you in church. My mother used to get so mad at my sister when she glared. I think all teen girls are like that, with some exceptions. Girls get away with a lot. When I drove a school bus, girls are nasty. Even when you're nice, you drive the bus smooth, you wait when they're running late, you don't chew them out, and they can't even greet you in the morning. Can't even say thanks for the ride. Wow. Girls are rude in America. They're very rude. And that's why 50% of all marriages fail, because they bring crap to the table as well as the man. I don't care if you got the cutest tatas and you're showing them. If you don't have this and you don't have a good mind and you don't have anything to bring on a relational aspect to the table, you're no good. You're no good. You're no good. Baby, you're no good. Do you know why porn? Do you know why America is the #1 producer of porn in the world? Because women are so shallow over here. And men too. We pedestalize looks. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to date a dog. No thanks. But I've noticed a direct correlation between women built like me, slender, petite, and good looking. All the warning lights on my dashboard are flashing. Liability, high maintenance, stuck up, immature, narcissist. Watertight doors are already coming down in my shed. Don't let her in. You little TikTok queens, you're really immature. You're really full of yourselves. In your bedroom all day, thinking you're a queen. Honey, they're only looking at you because of your looks. Facebook isn't even shutting that stuff down. Girls wearing no bra that are underage, jumping and prancing in a nipple slip, and you complain about it. And, well, we reviewed it. We didn't see anything that violated our community standards. But then you shut my Facebook page down and don't tell me what standard I violated. Facebook, I wish we could all sue their butts off and put Zuckerberg in the gutter where he belongs. And that goes for Bill Gates and all these social engineers. They all need to be in the gutter and suffer and know what it's like. Oh, can I have an amen? Give me some likes on that. These rich fat cats that are manipulating everything and censoring free speech and then allowing all this stuff. Facebook is promoting pedophilia, folks. Mothers, you better pay attention to what your daughters are doing upstairs in their bedroom on that camera and that phone. It ain't good. It ain't good. Where's the House and the Senate? Where's our leaders? I don't know. Good question. How come the House and the Senate haven't voted in term limits? Because they don't want them. It's easy to get. Once you're elected, 4-year term, House or Senate, you got it made in the shade. Give me that job just once. Elect me, people. Put me in there. I'll be rich for life, even if I fail. I wouldn't want to be around all those people. Oh, they'd hate me because I ain't wearing no suit and tie. I won't do it. I'll walk in there just like this. Wouldn't that be fun? You see all these people dressed in their stuffed shirts, all the BS, all the fakery, all that, and Michael just walk in there and sit down, lean back in his chair, and try to pay attention to what some speaker Bill's talking about. Not looking at Facebook, not looking at baseball stats. They'd never elect me. But at least I would do the best I could in the position I'm in. And even if I didn't get voted in again, I was told they still get their salary. That's crazy. I got fired from a job for telling the truth on a video that had nothing to do with the job. I didn't get paid for that. I lost 2 months of pay because of that, trying to find work. Social media can be a tool, but it could also end the life of somebody. And the bullies are out of control on the internet. They're all over the place. Scumbags and toilet bowl skid mark stains, that's all they are. They usually don't have a picture. They want to judge my looks. I promise you, I bet look better naked up against them than they do. I'll bet you I can do a lot more than they can do. You know, people think that they're all that because they can play a video game and score high. Can you play life and score high? Can you treat people right and score high? Can you remodel your house by yourself with no help, with no daddy, no mommy, nobody to help you? And you got to pay for uptick. COVID, a 2x4 goes up to $8 for a stud. Can you do all that? Or are you living in your mommy's basement being a little troll? There you go. 141 likes. Thank you, viewers. You made my day. I think that might be a record. Please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. If anybody wants to donate, you can ask. I won't even mention it here because this video is not about money. And none of I don't make money off of this. I've had people give me some gifts and some money, but I got to go to work every day like everybody else. And I'm proud of that fact. I'm proud as a man that I can get up and work a physically enduring job because it makes me stronger and it makes me feel like a man because that's what a man needs to do. Get off your butt and get a job. Don't sit on the system. Don't sit on Section 8. Get up and do it. If you can work, go to work. I don't care if it's cleaning toilets. I don't care if it's a greeter at Walmart. I don't care what you do. I have pride that you have a job. And you should have pride even if it's cleaning toilet bowls at Walmart. Don't ever look down on yourself because you've got a job and you're working it. Don't ever look down on yourself. You may not be a CEO and you may not make big bucks, bleh, if I can talk. But you're going to work. That's the first step in taking pride in you. That's the first step in owning your manhood. And all you women out there that have been left holding the bag on a baby because you let your heart get into it and you go to work and you're trying to juggle family, my hat is off to you. I'm sorry that you got to struggle. It's hard. But thank you for not giving up. To all those that have been bullied, this is dedicated to you. Things can get better. I'm living proof. People in my family said Michael never amount to anything. I'm still working on my house. I'm not as smooth as everybody else. This place was a wreck. I bought a bill of goods, but I'm almost done. People didn't teach me that. God did. I didn't get the love I needed from my mom and dad. And there's a scar that comes from that. Because even today, I doubt God. I doubt him because, you know, I grew up with parents that didn't give me the security I needed. Security. When a mom and dad love you, they don't spoil you, but they love you. An appropriate touch and hugs, not molestation and sexual things. Those kids do better. Virtually every time. David, I'll read your comment. I'm hoping you didn't just leave some skid mark in a toilet bowl because it'll be gone. God can take and turn your life into something. You'll still have bullies. You'll still have trolls. But you can triumph over them. Any of you young people listening that are being bullied, I feel for you. It sucks. It hurts. And you don't have anywhere to go. Start with God. Get down on your knees and say, God, I'm tired of all this. And believe that he loves you and cares about you, even if nobody else does. I didn't get the love I needed growing up with my mom and dad. And there's deficits in me to this day because of that. You can't grow up in an imperfect environment and come out perfect. You just can't. And even when you become a Christian, you go to church, you got different levels of Christians in there. You got those that are obnoxious. They're going to treat you like you're a customer on the lot of a used car dealership. They're going to come up and say, you need to do this. And no, I don't need to do a thing you say. I need to do what the Holy Spirit says. So get off of my back. I didn't give you permission to be my boss. My boss is my boss because I get paid. You're going to be my boss and you give me a paycheck. Then I'll sit down and listen to your crap. I'm tired of Christians coming up saying, well, I'm trying to challenge you to do better. And what's your motive for that? Because you care about me or you just want to be a bossy bot? Body language. You don't talk to me. You don't get to know me. You just want to tell me, oh, I saw your YouTube video and you're not doing right by wearing that shirt. Oh, okay. Well, you have a good day. But Mike, but nothing. We have no further discussion. Don't like it, don't watch the channel. It has nothing to do with you. I'm going to tell you something. Be who you are. Don't submit to the approval rating of other people. Everything's based on approval today. These dang shows. Oh, we had a lot of people watching this. If something's wrong and evil, don't approve it by watching. Don't watch. If you think that what I'm doing is so utterly wrong, then go away. And if you're so happy and well adjusted and at peace with God in your life, why are you jackhammering me? Because you want to control. Because you're a control freak. I don't care how spiritual you think you are. The need to badger and harass and get somebody to see your point of view, that's what I use my channel for. But I'm not going to go up to somebody and harangue on them. Unless they tell me, I want you to tell me what you think about this, then I'm going to go hard. Then I'm going to go in and go hard and fast and say, well, you need to do this. But going up to random people, the only time I'll confront somebody about something they're doing wrong is if they do something directly offensive to me. Just like I'm in public. Now, there's men that wear dresses and carry handbags. I'm not going to go, you're dressed as a cross-dresser. Why do you do that online? What's the point? Yeah, he's dressed as a cross-dresser, and your comment means what? People are kind of dumb by the comments they leave. The trolls are self-evident in their stupidity with the hatred, the violence, the rude comments. Then they don't have a picture. They don't have a YouTube channel. You're like, yep, probably looks like a barnacle on some elephant's butt. Yeah, commenting on me. Congratulations, buddy. You won absolutely nothing. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for listening. Try to stand up for the underdog, people. Try to care about those that are being persecuted by people. You might be a light for them that helps them later on in life. Have a good day. Be safe.